Nestled in the heart of Tamil Nadu lies the serene town of Sivaganga, a place where ancient traditions intertwine with the rhythms of daily life. The town, with its vibrant culture and deep-rooted spirituality, is home to many temples, each holding a unique place in the hearts of its people. Among its residents was Ajit Kumar, a young man of 27 years. He was known throughout the community not only for his warm smile, but also for his unwavering kindness and profound devotion at the Madappuram Bhadrakaliamman temple, a sacred place that stood as a beacon of faith and hope for the townsfolk. Ajit dedicated his life to the temple, working diligently as both a temple helper, ensuring its cleanliness and order, and as a security guard, protecting its sanctity. He didn't just see it as a job, he treated the temple as his own home, a sanctuary where he found purpose and peace, and the devotees who came to worship as his extended family, always ready to offer a helping hand or a comforting word. Ajit's gentle nature, coupled with his genuine willingness to help anyone in need, quickly made him a beloved figure in the community. His presence was a source of comfort and reassurance for many. Whether it was guiding visitors through the temple's intricate pathways, assisting the elderly with their prayers, or simply ensuring the temple's peace and tranquility was maintained for all who sought solace within its walls. His life was remarkably simple, yet profoundly meaningful, built on the cornerstones of humility, selfless service, and unwavering faith. Ajit's family, witnessing his dedication and the positive impact he had on the community, saw his work not just as a job, but as a true blessing, a divine calling. They were immensely proud of the respect and admiration he had earned from everyone around him. But the very temple that was his sanctuary, his haven, the center of his world, would soon and unexpectedly become the epicenter of a tragedy, a dark cloud looming over the town, a tragedy that would irrevocably shake the foundations of the town and leave an indelible mark on the hearts of its people. In their wildest dreams, no one could have possibly foreseen just how swiftly and dramatically his world and the world of those around him would begin to unravel, leading to unforeseen consequences. One day, a woman with a disability arrived at the temple, struggling to park. Ajit, ever helpful, offered to park her car so she could pray without worry. She gratefully handed him the keys, trusting him completely. Ajit parked the car, returned the keys, and resumed his duties, thinking nothing of it. For him, it was just another small act of kindness, but this simple gesture would soon be twisted, turning his life upside down. The trust that defined the temple would become the very thing used against him. After finishing her heartfelt prayers at the temple, a woman returned to her car, her mind still filled with the serenity of the sacred space. Little did she know, her peaceful state was about to be shattered by a harsh reality. As she reached into her bag to retrieve her keys, a sense of unease began to creep in. Something felt amiss. It was 9.5 gold sovereigns, carefully stored, that she had planned to use for a special occasion. These weren't just any coins. They represented a significant part of her savings, a tangible symbol of her hard work and future aspirations. Each sovereign held a story, a memory, a piece of her life's journey, but they were missing from her car. A wave of disbelief washed over her as she frantically searched every nook and cranny, her initial hopes slowly turning into a chilling realization. The small space of her car suddenly felt vast and empty, mirroring the growing void in her heart. Panic spread like wildfire through the temple grounds. The news of the missing gold rippled through the gathered devotees, casting a dark shadow over their spiritual haven. Whispers turned into murmurs, and murmurs into concerned conversations as people tried to make sense of the unsettling event. A theft at the temple, a place considered sacred and safe, shattered the sense of security and trust that had always permeated the community. The very foundation of their shared faith and belief in the sanctity of the space was shaken, leaving everyone feeling vulnerable and exposed. Suspicion quickly fell on Ajit, the temple worker who was always ready to lend a helping hand. Fingers pointed in his direction, fueled by circumstantial evidence and the desperate need to find a culprit. He was the only person who had been in her car, assisting her with parking just moments before the discovery. This single fact, however innocent it seemed, became the focal point of the unfolding drama, overshadowing his years of dedicated service. The police were called, their arrival signaling a shift from community concern to formal investigation. The flashing lights and stern faces of the officers added to the growing tension, transforming the peaceful temple grounds into a scene of suspicion and unease. And Ajit's years of honest service, his countless acts of kindness, and his unwavering dedication to the temple were forgotten in an instant, swept away by the tide of suspicion and fear. His reputation, built on years of trust and goodwill, crumbled under the weight of the accusation. He was taken into custody, the cold metal of the handcuffs a stark contrast to the warmth and respect he had always received from the community. The arrest was swift and decisive, leaving little room for explanation or defense. Accused of betraying the very trust he cherished, the foundation upon which he had built his life and reputation, the weight of the accusation pressed down on him, threatening to crush his spirit and shatter his sense of self. The community was stunned, struggling to reconcile the image of the helpful, kind Ajit with the accusations leveled against him. Disbelief and confusion clouded their faces as they grappled with the unsettling reality. Ajit, the helpful temple worker, the man who always greeted everyone with a smile, was now a suspect, his name tarnished by the shadow of suspicion. The transformation was jarring and unsettling, leaving many wondering if they truly knew the man they thought they did. The police focused solely on him, their investigation seemingly blinded by the initial suspicion. Other potential leads and possibilities were overlooked, narrowing the scope of the inquiry and solidifying Ajit's position as the prime suspect. Ignoring other possibilities, the investigation seemed to be driven by a predetermined conclusion, overlooking crucial details and potential alternative explanations. This tunnel vision approach threatened to condemn an innocent man based on incomplete information. Ajit's world collapsed around him, the foundations of his life crumbling under the weight of the accusations and the unwavering focus of the investigation. His sense of security and belonging vanished, replaced by fear and uncertainty. As he was pulled away from the temple and his family, a sense of despair washed over him. The separation was agonizing, tearing him away from the people he loved and the life he had built. He faced the law alone, without the support of his community or the comfort of his family. The isolation was crushing, amplifying his fear and uncertainty. Bewildered and afraid, he struggled to understand how his life had taken such a drastic turn. The accusations seemed surreal, a nightmare unfolding before his very eyes. The accusation marked the beginning of a nightmare, a descent into a world of legal proceedings, public scrutiny, and the constant struggle to prove his innocence. The journey ahead would be long and arduous, filled with challenges and uncertainties. At the police station, Ajit was held and questioned about the theft. His family waited anxiously, hoping for his return, believing in his innocence. Hours passed in silence. Their calls to the station brought no comfort. Ajit was alone, without support, facing intense interrogation. The family's hope faded with each unanswered call. The silence from the police station was ominous. The call they longed for never came. Instead, they would soon receive news that would devastate them forever. Ajit Kumar died in police custody under suspicious circumstances. A healthy young man entered the station alive and left as a corpse. The official explanation was met with disbelief and outrage. The community suspected custodial violence, not a tragic accident. Ajit's death turned a theft investigation into a human rights crisis. The police, meant to protect, were now at the center of a far graver crime. His story became a chilling reminder of the dangers of unchecked power. The value of a human life was now the question haunting Sivaganga. For Ajit's family, his death was an unimaginable loss. Their grief was public and raw, a cry for answers and justice. They defended his memory, insisting on his innocence and kindness. Mourning was mixed with a desperate fight to clear his name. Their home became a place of mourning and protest. The pain was visible in every tear, every unanswered question. What were his last moments like? Was he afraid? Their sorrow fueled the community's outrage. They refused to let Ajit be forgotten or reduced to a statistic. Their fight became a symbol for all families seeking justice. News of Ajit's death spread rapidly, carried on whispers and urgent phone calls through the close-knit Indian village. The initial disbelief quickly morphed into a chilling realization. A young life, extinguished too soon, and under such questionable circumstances. The story, pieced together from fragmented accounts, painted a grim picture, sparking a firestorm of emotions, igniting shock and anger that rippled through every household. The injustice of it all, the potential abuse of power, fueled a collective sense of outrage. Faces etched with disbelief and then hardening with resolve, the villagers began to grapple with the enormity of the loss and the implications for their own safety and security. The community, deeply connected to him, not just by geography but by shared experiences and a strong sense of kinship, felt the loss as a personal blow. Ajit was one of their own, a son, a brother, a friend. His dreams, now shattered, were intertwined with the hopes and aspirations of the entire village. Demanded answers, refusing to let Ajit's death be swept under the rug. They wanted to know the truth, the full, unvarnished truth about what had happened that fateful night. Whispers turned into shouts, grief into determination as the villagers united in their demand for justice. Protests erupted, spontaneous gatherings fueled by grief and a burning desire for accountability. The villagers, normally reserved and peace-loving, found their voices, their anger transforming into a powerful force. Roads were blocked, disrupting the normal flow of life, sending a clear message that the community would not stand idly by. The blockade was a symbol of their defiance, a physical manifestation of their refusal to accept the official narrative. Voices united in outrage, echoing through the streets and fields. The collective roar of the crowd was a testament to their shared pain and their unwavering commitment to seeking justice for Ajit. Slogans filled the air, demanding truth and accountability. They rejected the official narrative, dismissing the initial explanations as inadequate and incomplete. The villagers felt they were being patronized, their concerns dismissed, and their intelligence insulted, calling for an impartial investigation, one conducted by an independent body free from local influence and potential bias. They wanted assurances that the investigation would be thorough, transparent, and that those responsible, regardless of their position, would be held accountable. The protests were peaceful but powerful, a testament to the community's resolve and their commitment to non-violent resistance. They understood the power of collective action, the strength in their unity, and the importance of maintaining their dignity in the face of injustice. A collective stand for justice, a demonstration of their unwavering belief in the rule of law and their determination to ensure that Ajit's death would not be in vain. They stood shoulder to shoulder, united by grief and a shared sense of purpose. People feared for their own safety. The incident cast a long shadow over the village, creating an atmosphere of unease and suspicion. The trust in the authorities, already fragile, was now shattered. If this could happen to Ajit, it could happen to anyone. The thought lingered in their minds, fueling their determination to fight for justice, not just for Ajit, but for themselves and for future generations. The question of safety loomed large, threatening to unravel the fabric of their community. The authorities responded, initially with silence, and then with carefully crafted statements designed to appease the growing unrest. Behind closed doors, meetings were held, strategies were discussed, and decisions were made. But the villagers remained skeptical. By suspending 6 policemen, a move that was seen as a superficial attempt to quell the rising tide of anger. The villagers recognized it as a public relations exercise, a way to deflect criticism without addressing the underlying issues. But for the protesters, this was not enough. They saw it as a token gesture, a band-aid solution to a deep and festering wound. The suspension of a few officers did not address the systemic issues that had allowed Ajit's death to occur. They wanted real accountability, a thorough investigation that would uncover the truth and bring all those responsible to justice, regardless of their rank or position. They demanded systemic change, reforms that would prevent such tragedies from happening again. Not just temporary measures, but lasting reforms that would ensure the safety and security of the community. They were not interested in quick fixes or empty promises. They wanted concrete action and a commitment to long-term change. The town came to a standstill, businesses closed, and daily routines were disrupted as the community united in its protest. The silence was deafening, a powerful symbol of their collective grief and their unwavering determination. Drawing media and official attention, shining a spotlight on the plight of the village and the injustice they had suffered. The cameras rolled, the microphones were held, and the world began to take notice. The fight for justice had only just begun, and the villagers were prepared to continue their protest until their demands were met. They knew it would be a long and arduous battle, but they were determined to see it through. The community's anger would not be easily silenced. It was a force to be reckoned with, fueled by grief, injustice, and a deep-seated desire for change. Their voices, united in outrage, would continue to echo until justice prevailed. Trust between the community and police was shattered. The protectors were now seen as threats, not guardians. People hesitated to seek help, fearing the very system meant to protect them. Ajit's death exposed a deep crisis of confidence in law enforcement. The protests questioned not just one incident, but the entire system. Rebuilding trust would require more than suspensions. It demanded real change. The community needed to see justice done, transparently and fairly. Ajit's case became a test for the justice system itself. The outcome would determine if faith in the protectors could ever be restored. Ajit Kumar's story is a tragedy of lost trust and a life cut short. The investigation and suspensions were only the beginning. His family and community waited, seeking truth and vindication. Justice meant more than punishment. It meant restoring Ajit's honor. The demand was for a system that protects the innocent and holds the powerful accountable. Empathy for Ajit and his family turned outrage into a movement. As the investigation continued, hope for justice endured. Ajit's story became a call for change, a reminder of the cost of injustice. The wait is long, but the fight for justice goes on.